Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian Ward, and on behalf of Crafted for Action, I'd like to welcome you to Marketing is About Telling a Story, Not Selling a Story from Kayla Stinnett. So please feel free to ask questions in the chat and engage by leaving a message. Our presenter will be sure to leave some time at the end to answer any questions. So without further ado, Kayla Stinnett.
Yeah. Okay. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to Marketing is About Telling a Story, Not Selling a Story. So, today we'll dive into how to effectively share the thing that sets your business apart from everybody else, your unique story. But before we get started, let's dive into why I'm the one that's sharing this. Hey, everybody, I'm Kayla Stinnett, CEO of Iron City Social and CMO of the upcoming Stella Trip Brewing Company. I'm a serial entrepreneur, craft beer enthusiast, gin lover, and a woman who loves to travel. Not only am I degreed in marketing, but have worked in the field for a decade now, and manned the helm of Iron City Social for 7 years. But now that I've introduced myself, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with what really makes your business different. And as I like to tell my clients, that difference is your unique brand story. You may sell an identical product, you may make the same beer as the brewery down the street, but what makes you different, what makes people choose your business or your brewery over others is you or your story. So today, we're going to chat about how you can share that unique story with your audience. Okay, so to effectively share your story, you need to know the who, what, and why of it all, your personality, and your brand's voice. So we're going to dive into all of that today, and then we'll wrap up with a few real world examples and tips for how you can put it all into action. So we're going to kick things off with the who, what, and why of it all. Now, this step entails really getting down to the origin story of your business. I have found that the most effective way to do this is by asking yourself these 3 essential questions. Who are you really? Now, think of that in terms of your business. Like when I define Iron City Social, I think of strong, independent, irreverent, and knowledgeable, someone with a passion for what they do and a passion for helping small businesses. Now, the next step is to know the what. Think about it. When is the last time that you really sat down and pen to paper defined who you are, what you do, the why behind why you do this? Like, of course, we all want to make money, but really getting down to the passion of it all. And I hope you have a passion for it in craft beer, especially if you're in craft beer, because as I'm sure you know, and as I have discovered, it is really hard out there. So you have to have a passion for it. You have to have a love for it. But if you haven't done that, how are you really supposed to communicate that to your audience? And last but not least is the why. Why do you do what you do? Keep in mind that this question ties directly into the origin story of your business. For example, I started Iron City Social because I saw a need for effective yet affordable marketing services for small businesses. I love Birmingham, which is where I'm from, and I know the magic of the city that I love so much would not be what it is without the small businesses that make it shine. Now, let's talk about your business's personality or branding. Now, I want you to think beyond a logo or a striking color palette. I want you to instead go back to the soul of your business. A great exercise to determine the personality of your business is to do like a quote unquote word dump. During this process, you sit down and write out all of the words that describe your business. And if you already have an established business, this is still a great exercise to do because not only can you do the word dump, but you can get your employees involved. You can even get your customers involved. And that's going to give you some real insight into not only how the world sees your business, but it gives a great kind of foundation for you to build how you see your business and make sure those two match up. And like I said, I don't want you to just think about the logo, or I don't want you to think that you don't need a logo, because you do. You totally need that. But what I want you to realize is that the word branding means much more than that. So you have to think beyond that. Your branding should not only include logo variation, logo do's and don'ts, color palette, your brand voice, even like essential information like your mission statement, vision statement. Do you say I? Do you say we? It really is an all-encompassing guide to your business. It's the soul of your business. So it should really encompass everything that makes your business your business. Remember, we're talking about your business's personality. Okay, so now that you have your branding down, it's time to establish your voice. You can establish your brand voice by asking the following. What is your purpose? What's your secret sauce, the thing that makes you unique? What do you value? Who's the competition and how do they present themselves? You can even just think of 3 words to describe your brand and include that, or develop your brand voice around that. So to establish a consistent brand identity and voice, it's important that you know who you are and who you're not. Using the "we're this, not that" exercise is also a great way to find out your brand's unique characteristics. And last but not least, know who you're talking to. Would your audience appreciate someone who's irreverent and confident, or thoughtful and compassionate? But above all, keep in mind that you need to sound like you. Now, I know I said earlier that you should look to your competition, but that's not so much to copy them, but to more so know who you're not. Because if you are not sincere, then your audience can tell and they will call you out on it. So please always keep that in mind. Okay, so now here is a real world example of setting your business up to tell a story, not sell a story. Now, Sell a Trip Brewing is a concept that's in its early stages of development. Here we have the who, what, and why, which ties directly into the story that we want to tell. We do have a powerful story that really resonates with our audience. So the who here, we're a group of women with a passion for craft beer and other fermented beverages. The what, we are going to be a brew pub specializing in experimental beers and offers a limited menu that's characterized by seasonal flavors. And the why, with less than 0.4% of Black-owned breweries and just 2% of fully woman-owned breweries, we saw a need and we filled it. Plus, there's passion. So in the plainest terms, we've put here our who, our what, and our why. It's the first step that we did when really working through what we wanted this brewery to be. And it laid the foundation for everything that we have done moving forward. Now, here you can see that from that, we moved on and we established our vision, mission, and tagline. And honestly, with everything that we do, from building out our branding to building out our storefront, our tap room, to, even crafting emails, and basically every single thing that we do, we refer back to this. So our vision is to be a model for inclusivity in craft beer, creating a space for all kind humans to gather and enjoy craft beer and be taking home trophies by 2030 while we're at it. We are on a mission, or we're in the business of crafting one-of-a-kind beers, creating a welcoming environment that both empowers and inspires our community, and supporting other female, non-binary, and minority-owned businesses. And last but not least, our tagline, to inspire wonder. Now, with our vision and our mission, we do refer back to those weekly while we are honestly building our brewery from the ground up. This will be on display for our staff too, so they can always refer back to that as well. And the tagline is really just something, it's like a quick snippet of a thing that we can always refer back to ground us and take us back to, we are not selling a story, we are telling a story to inspire wonder. Every single thing that we do is built upon that. And after we had all of that, we started to work on our branding. Now you'll notice our main logo, we have our color palette, and a logo hierarchy. For the branding that we have in play, we're going to build out our brand voice, logo variations, assets for social media, and more. Remember, when you are working on branding, it is not just a logo. It is so much more than that. So this is the first step in our branding process, and we're working on developing all the things out that I just mentioned. If you would like an exhaustive guide and some tips on what to look for when you're developing your brand story, when you're working on branding, I'm happy to provide that. My email is in my name. So feel free to grab that and shoot me an email for all of that info. And last but not least, we've begun to detail our brand voice. We care, we're casual, we're humorous, and we're kind was the word dump that we used to develop this just really short and long snippet about who Stella Trip Brewing Company is. Now from this, we've already started to use different language that is really us, and we'll use this short and long description of Stella Trip Brewing Company to develop our brand voice. Okay, and now it's time to put it all into action. So let's dive into a few tips that you can use. Now, like I said, write everything down, whether it's in a note on your phone or post it on your desk. Like anytime anything about your business comes to mind that's like, oh, that is so Stella Trip Brewing Company, make a note of it. When you're out having conversations with friends, like ask them, what is it like? What do you like about my business? What does my business make you feel? Like, why, besides like you being my friend, why do you buy products from me? Why do you buy beer from me? And once again, practice makes perfect. Try saying your brand story out loud or sharing it with a friend for feedback. And do not worry about the competition. Stay true to you. Please, like I said before, there are a lot of breweries out here, but what makes your product unique is not necessarily the product itself, but it is you. People love to support people that not only make them feel good, but that they see themselves in. So always keep that in mind. Do not copy your competition. Please just stay true to your story. And that's it, y'all. I wanted to make it short and sweet. I did not want to bash you over the head with a bunch of marketing things because I wanted to leave plenty of time at the end for any questions. So thanks for joining us today, and feel free to drop your questions in the chat if you have any.
Thank you so much, Kayla. I do have a question as we are waiting for questions to enter the chat. What are some of the, I guess, most common mistakes that new businesses or just businesses in general make when it comes to just general marketing things like social media or anything like that?
Trying to do it all. I like to kind of characterize it as there are different levels that you can do when it comes to setting up the marketing for your business. And especially with everything being so expensive right now, you need to be very honest with yourself in terms of, do I need to spend $10,000 on branding, or do I need to buy this fermenter? So I would just start out small with that. In terms of contracted work, I would contract out my main logo and somebody to write my blurb to get me started. You'll notice on the branding that I'd included for Stella Trip Brewing Company, it had our main logo, a color palette, and fonts. And that's all we are starting with. That's it. And that's me saying that, someone that has worked in marketing for a decade, but I know that's all we need initially. and everything else, I can work backwards off of that. So I can develop the brand voice. I can come up with social media guidelines. I can build out a website from that. So I will always encourage people, don't ignore marketing, but be very honest with yourself in terms of the budget that you have in place, and be honest with whatever company you choose to work with as well, because they can provide some guidance around that too. And that's honestly where that guide that I mentioned comes in handy in terms of what you really do need in your branding kit. Just so you know that you're not getting taken advantage of, that you're getting everything that you should be getting at the price point that you're paying, and so on.
Thank you. That's super helpful. There's another question about trademarking, and I don't know if this is something that you have discussed or you've had questions about, but in a new business, I was actually looking at a video of a woman who was talking about trademarking and things like that. But if you're a new business and you think you might need to trademark, and you kind of discussed earlier, like figuring out what you can afford, like how important do you think trademarking is in the beginning for an expense rather than waiting later on?
I think it really depends on your market. With Stella Trip Brewing Company, at least, we have it written out in our business plan, actually, and our proposal for funding, that we don't plan on trademarking anything for the first year. And that is essentially A, because it is quite expensive, and B, because in our first year of business, we want to leave plenty of room for us to experiment and change. Like, for example, 6 months ago, our name was Stargazer Brewing Company. It was not Stella Trip Brewing Company. And one morning we just woke up and was like, we don't like that name anymore. We need to change it. What if we had spent like the $5,000 to get that trademark, and then we were like, well, we hate this name, but we're sticking with it. You know what I mean? So I think even if only for that reason, just give it some time. Like a year after you start your business, make sure that that is going to be the end all and be all, whether it's a beer name or your business name, and then look into trademarking.
That's helpful. That's really helpful. That was one of the questions that I've heard a lot with a lot of the people that I know that are kind of new in business is, when should I trademark? Is that something that I should commit to myself financially right now? Like, how important is it? Because you hear so much on the news about people who didn't trademark certain things and it was taken or something, and they had to pay an extreme amount of money to buy it back or something like that. So, yeah.
I mean, the same thing happened. My sister owns like a self-care product-based business, and her business is very successful. And she never trademarked, and got 10 years into her business and had to change her name. That's why, like, I'm definitely keep it top of mind, but don't feel like you have to do it right when you get started, if that makes sense.
Yes, super helpful. Thank you. Any other, I guess, feedback you can give to people who are kind of fresh in it or who have been doing it for a while and haven't really thought how beneficial just knowing your marketing plan and knowing your story, like how important that is? Any other like tidbits of information, maybe some things that people have asked you about in the past?
Yeah, I would definitely say probably number one is to not feel like you have to be on every single marketing platform. You don't have to be on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You don't have to do all of it. Trying to do all of it is not only going to cost you a lot of money, but it's going to burn you out if you aren't outsourcing it. I would say to pick one or two social media platforms to stick to, and then do the same with non-social media types. Like, I'm going to focus on email marketing, Instagram, Facebook, and do local radio ads. And that's going to be my bare minimum and all be all for marketing my business. I'm just going to focus there because a lot of people don't realize the power of consistency and how that makes a huge difference when it comes to marketing. So I definitely don't want you to just empty your pockets trying to market your business, but just take a look at the back end of your accounts and see which platforms are working the best for you. If you have a huge email list I know a lot of people are using Arrive now, and they do collect those emails and will send you those emails. If you ask them to, they'll send them to you free of charge every month in a list that you can easily import into tons of different email marketing softwares. Just make it a habit to sit down each month. Okay, I'm scheduling out a newsletter that includes all of the events that are happening in my tap room, and that goes out once a month, and I'm sending out one-off email every week that details new beers that are on tap in the tap room. Easy. Like, that you can write it out, you can pop a picture in it. If you have a lot of phone numbers, the same applies. Sign up for an SMS marketing software and sit down once a month and schedule out every single thing that's going to go out. And the great thing about that is that you can basically do like a trickle down effect thing where, let's say you're going to sit down twice a month and just draft out posts for social media, do events in the tap room, do upcoming beers, do a staff highlight, do, I don't know, 2 funny videos. And that's literally every single post that you have for the month of July. And then let that trickle down. Okay, I'm going to use what I just wrote for social media, and I'm going to copy and paste it over into an email or an SMS text or text message. All right, I'm going to copy and paste this and send it to the radio station so they can make an ad off of it, right? There's small little tweaks that you can make to copy or content that you've created and just let that trickle down to other marketing mediums. Just stay consistent, please.
I received that. I hope that all of you out there in the virtual world receive that as well, because oftentimes we get so bogged down with everything that we think we need to do, which is something else, Kayla, that you mentioned. We don't have to do it all. We don't have to be on all the social media platforms. So you're speaking to me right now, and I'm sure some people out there, you're speaking to them too. But being consistent is really important. And I feel like for me, that is my biggest takeaway. You've said a lot of great things, but the consistency part was really important. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Anything else you think that we might need to know? Another piece of gold information that we probably wouldn't know to ask. And that's a lot of the issues too. We need the information, but we don't really know what we don't know. So we can't ask it yet.
I would say a presentation that I'm working on right now to present in Birmingham in 2 weeks is all about content marketing. And it's become a buzzword, just content in general, but content marketing specifically details like any collateral that you create for the purpose of promoting your business. So content can be a video, it can be a graphic, it could be a blog. But the idea behind content marketing is creating content that is either inspirational, entertaining, or engaging, or teaches you something. And that really plays into the idea of telling a story and not selling a story too. Because I think people either think if I build it, they will come, or they think every single piece of marketing just has to be a hard sell. But that is not what marketing is. Marketing is a conversation. You're not talking at people, you're talking to them, you're building a relationship with them. And that is really the hallmark behind a great content marketing strategy. It's you building a relationship with your audience, rather than hitting them over the head with, this new beer is out. It's great. Come try it. We're having this event on Friday. Y'all all should come. That's it. Right. Instead of just saying, hey, we have this beer, really describe the beer. Give the ABV, give the IBU, give the story behind this, how this beer came about. Did a staff member request the beer? Is this something that your audience has asked for? Is this a beer that you've wanted to make for so long and now it's just the right time to do it? Are you using local fruit to fruit the beer? Did you use a hop extract to make it? Because that's really cool. It's really thinking about the who, the what, and the why behind what you did, and communicating that to your audience, so you're not talking at them, you are having a conversation with them. And businesses just miss the mark with that so much, and they get too, it's like you can't see the forest for the trees kind of thing. And they really make it more difficult than it has to be. But that's number one, that's paramount. Remember that your content needs to entertain, inspire, engage, or teach them something, not just sell them something.
Thank you. I'm over here trying to write notes.
I'm actually, a blog is coming out or publishing on my website this month that dives into content marketing strategy and gives you some foundational aspects for it. So if you want to read that, it is completely free. It's just ironcitysocial.com.
Okay, let me put that in the chat here. ironcitysocial.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old school. I have to write it down on my little notebook over here too.
You are perfectly fine.
All right, that was great. Thank you so much for all the information. If there are no more chats and if you have nothing else, you've given us great information and tips and all of that, we can wrap up. So anything else before we leave, Kayla, that you would like to share with our audience?
No, I mean, if y'all have any questions, I love talking about marketing and craft beer. So feel free to reach out to me at kayla@ironcitysocial.com, or just head over to my website and get all the free resources on my blog.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for this virtual session. Thank you, Kayla, for giving us your time and all of your wisdom. Please take a moment, everyone, and rate this panel using the link in the panel description or on the Watch Craft Beer Con page on the website. So thank you all again. And we have more sessions, so please stick around. Thank you, Kayla.
Thanks, y'all.